In many developing countries, people rely on open flames to cook food. However, while this gets the job done, there are many problems with using this method. First, it is inefficient in that only 10 to 40% of the fire actually heats the pot. There are also health risks, specifically cardiovascular disease, associated with this technique, and open flames also contribute to environmental damages. Therefore, numerous organizations have tried to implement stoves that are healthier, more efficient, and are also fueled by biomass. Inspired by my own capstone project of building a stove for Agoncillo, a municipality in the Philippines, I began to look at how stove implementation follows technological momentum. This framework has two parts: social construction of technology and technological determinism. In short, initially society controls the use of the technology, but over time the technology gains power and begins to control aspects of society. Therefore, I pose the following research question: what affects the implementation of biomass burning stoves in foreign countries, and what social and economic changes does this technology cause? To answer this, I conducted a comparative case study analysis. In total, there were 6 studies that covered stove implementation in 5 different countries: Kenya, Mexico, Peru, Bangladesh, and Malawi. The first part of my question covers 3 primary areas of adoption. First, I looked at issues people had with the stoves. The Kenyan study hypothesized that if the issues were to be fixed, the stoves would be more readily adoptable. Most issues were only present in context and that they did not fulfill the community's needs. For example, households in the Kenyan community use pots of various sizes when cooking, which the stove does not accommodate for. I further looked at traits people had that would make them more willing to adopt a stove, which was covered in studies in Mexico and Malawi. However, there was no overlap between these 2 regions, possibly due to differences in culture. Finally, evidence in Peru, Malawi, and Mexico showed that early adopters would influence others to adopt. This practice is known as the diffusion of innovation theory. My results next covered the effects stoves had on society. This was grouped into 2 categories: economics and family life. The largest trend among regions was that the stoves led to a larger availability of time. The studies on Mexico and Bangladesh gave insights to their monetary effects. The Mexico study showed a large amount of money being saved due to expenses being reduced in areas such as wood and healthcare. The Bangladesh study showed how much extra incomes families earned now that women had more time and could use this to make more money. However, on average, this was only a 0.24% increase. The studies in Kenya and Bangladesh both showed positive effects for women and families. For example, in Kenya, because of healthier conditions, women were no longer the sole cooks as men and children began taking on cooking roles. While my research primarily tackled technological momentum, it most certainly can stretch further than this one theory. Examples included an analysis on the diffusion of innovation theory and a stronger look at gender roles. My research could also be improved by looking at multiple studies in one region instead of solely taking a global perspective. In the future, engineers should take into account the many outside factors that either impact or are impacted by the stove's interaction with society.